So I'm a professional procrastinator, and I know a lot of people are too. A lot of people around me, they know they have to do things and don't do them either. I know that as well. I often know that I have to do homework, but rather go do something else. Now, I go do that something else just because I know that once I do it, I'll do the other thing that I want to do. But there's a couple of things that you know you have to do, uh, but you feel really insecure, and all you do is over prepare. So I call this the almost started trap. And how many times have you almost done something? How many times have you said, I'm going to start? I'm just not ready yet. I need to learn a bit more. I need better equipment. The better equipment one hits really good home because somehow I keep buying more equipment to do these YouTube videos. And honestly, now that I record them, I don't really need very much equipment. But um, when I first started, I researched equipment for like 6 months. So I started preparing to record around June of 2025 is when I started to do all this. And the plans of how this was going to happen are not going very well because I was supposed to do interviews with people, and I think I like did was my friends and a couple other people that I knew. And there's one that I'm supposed to be editing that I have not edited for a while because I keep saying uh, I'm gonna get to it. So professional procrastinator there at that. But the I need better equipment one is definitely one that kept me for a while because I had to say that I needed to keep learning my equipment, how the cameras work, how microphones work, audio, and all this other stuff. Which leads me to I need to figure out exactly what I'm going to do, and then somehow days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and eventually you realize you never actually started. That was me. You got really good at preparing to start, and I think there's a trap hiding in preparation, and I call that the almost started trap. Um, the thing about it is because preparation feels productive, that's what makes it dangerous. You can spend an hour reading books, listening to podcasts. Um, for me, it was watching YouTube videos and buying a content creator course that teaches you how to use equipment. Um, Researching, taking notes, buying equipment, planning, analyzing. And when you're done, the cool thing about all that is that you feel like you just did some work. However, for me, it also felt like I was never going to get started because all this was good. I felt like I was doing busy work. And, you know, technically I did, but you didn't necessarily move closer to the goal. Or for me, I didn't move closer to posting videos, which, whatever. Um, because anything besides doing anything isn't doing anything. That strangest loop, strangest loop. I think that's what it's called. Essay of all the things that is not doing a thing. I suggest you research it. I will not put it in here because it's incredibly long, but um, really awesome. It's everything that is not doing the thing. Uh, telling people they're going to do the thing isn't doing a thing. Preparing to do the thing isn't doing a thing. Scheduling on your calendar isn't doing a thing. Those are like a few amongst the ones. But at some point, you have to close the book. You have to turn off the podcast, stop watching the tutorial, and actually, like Naval Ravikant says, you got to step into the arena. You know, the noble thing about preparation is that it feels like progress. I think that's one of the reasons why I get trapped in there because I'm like, oh my god, dude, I am so busy. Look at me doing this, all this positivity, all this preparation. But because preparation feels noble, it feels responsible. It feels like you're not procrastinating. It feels like you're learning. You're not avoiding the work. You're researching. You're not afraid to start. You're just waiting until you're ready. And that distinction makes procrastination feel like you're actually doing something difficult. You're like, oh, damn, look at me doing all this stuff. Um, because you're actually doing something, it feels like you're doing something, but you're not actually moving towards the goal. And that was me for the 6 months that I was waiting to launch my podcast. A lot of it too was like, oh, I need to record an intro episode and I got to tell people like what I'm going to do in 100. Like, dude, I think most of the things I said on that intro are not even applicable anymore. Um, the timelines that I was supposed to like hold for myself and when I was going to record and what days I was going to release, like that's all shot out the window. Uh, yeah. Um, you're doing everything except the thing that you say you wanted to do, and eventually you can become good at preparing. And that preparation itself becomes a goal. Like, oh damn, I'm gonna go do some more research on that because I was, learning that shutter speed on the camera, and then I need ISO at a certain level, and this is just some of the stuff that I got into. So you can tell us, once I know enough, I'll start. But what happens when you finally know enough? Because at some point, I reached, I think, a level of understanding where I can turn on a camera, turn on microphones, and connect it. And well, obviously, I have because I post videos now, and they sound and look relatively all right. Um, However, you can also find something that you don't know, and then you research that, and then you find another problem, so you prepare for that, and you suddenly are 6 months, like I was, into something that you haven't actually started. I started this in June. I sent my friend Jimmy an itemized list of all the things that were required to launch a podcast, and eventually I got to it around December, and I posted in January, um, the first episode of my friend Jimmy, and he is often mentioned in my Substack, and I mention him from time to time because he is probably part of the reason why I started. Um, you know, it was just like he was the first person to tell me that it wasn't a dumb idea, and that kind of lit some motivation, I guess you can call it. Um, However, knowledge is an experience, so all the stuff I knew, there's something else I've realized. Learning and doing are two completely different things, right? The theory versus practice thing, or as I think Chris Williamson says, it two-dimensional and three-dimensional learning. You can learn everything there is to know about a camera. You can watch the videos and about overheating because it did overheat for me. It was great. I have Alpha 6400 Sony's and they don't have an internal fan, which means you need to buy an external one. Um, so they overheat in over an hour or something like that, especially shooting at 4K, which is what I would shoot on. And eventually, I learned that they overheat. Eventually, I learned that they overheat pretty fast. And you can buy the right lenses or whatever, the microphone, set up the lighting. But eventually, I had to hit record, and obviously, I have. But for a while, I did not hit record, and you know, now you learn. Like you step into the arena and you learn that your audio is awful and that your lighting is terrible and stuff looks flat, and then you have to learn that you have to calibrate it. Um, and whatever you thought was gonna go like, it's not going like at all. Like how I thought things would look didn't look at all that way. And but what you have from that and what I got from that was now that I did that, I had something real. All the theories, all the learning, I now tested all this stuff against reality. And that is something that if you're in the preparation trap, you will never get because you're never going to get the feedback from reality of the things that happen because I knew that the camera overheat and at first I didn't have a cooling fan or a little fan to cool the camera because it doesn't have its own internal one. But eventually I was like, oh damn, if I'm going to record these like 2 hour sessions, I'm going to need a fan. um, I'm a gym dude, so the same thing can happen in the gym. Like you can read about progressive overload and watch other videos of Jeff Cavalier and Andrew Huberman and then um, Michael Chitelli and all this other stuff and all these other people. However, you can learn about recovery. You can watch videos about getting stronger. You have to get the perfect program, but eventually, like, dude, you got to go hit the gym. How you got to put weight on the barbell. You got to get on the, you know, Smith machine, whatever like you use. You got to hit the dumbbells. Maybe you hit a PR, maybe you fail, maybe you sore for 3 days, maybe you realize the recovery isn't what you thought it was. Maybe now you realize that 2 days is not enough recovery for you. You need to do 3 days. Like this is the information that you get that you have because you now are doing the thing. Like all this stuff about preparing to go to the gym and watching all these videos, like it's gonna be way different when you go in there and do the thing. Like the biggest one is my best friend Saul and I, we were big like Jeff Cavalier fans when we were younger, and we will watch stuff like on form certain bicep workouts because he has fucking glorious arms and I don't. I have the most terrible genetics for arms, but Um, I've been trying to grow my arms for 7 years, and I still cannot grow my arms. It's absolutely terrible. But that is the information you're going to get of what workouts are actually doing, because you're now testing against reality. And preparation is only a guide. Like, you can watch all these videos, and that's good. Like, you're getting the information. You're going in there not very so blind of just picking up the weight and just moving it around. Like, now you're kind of like, okay, if I do it this way, this works. Internal rotation on my biceps or whatever the fuck. If I extend this way, like, this works. This certain head of my triceps. However, um, that in itself, you're only going to get it when you do it. Um, Another part that you know kept me in the preparation trap was resources. So I first heard Tony Robbins talk about, um, I think it was in a TED talk. He said, "Your problem isn't resources; it's resourcefulness." And sometimes we convince ourselves that we are missing resources. Like for me, oh my god, to start, I was like, I need the camera. So when I first started, I was like, I'm gonna get an FX30. An FX30 is like a cinematic Sony camera, that is a APS-C crop sensor, um, and not that you know a lot of people that watch this that don't do content and stuff like that and don't know stuff about cameras are really gonna know what I'm talking about. But it's a relatively good camera. Like, it's good. It's about 2 grand. Um, so I was like, I need a good camera. And then I was like, I need a better computer because my computer can't handle 4K editing. It's like, I need more money to buy these fancy stuff because I had the money to buy this, but I didn't have the money to throw around for like the good stuff, right? I have good stuff, but I don't have the good stuff. And then after that, I was like, well, I have all this equipment, so I need more knowledge. So I need to watch more videos. And I went from YouTube free videos to a content creator course. It was actually pretty good. But after I watched it, I was like, well, I need more time now. I need more time because this is a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of equipment, and I don't think I know enough. So sometimes it is true, resources matter, but I think we often underestimate something else, resourcefulness, right? Because there's almost always something missing. There's always another piece of equipment you could buy, another book you could read, another course you could take, another expert, because man, there's an abundance of them on social media to listen to, and another thing you can improve before you begin. If you wait until you have everything, you might never begin because the perfect time to start doesn't exist. Or in Alex Hermosi's words, is like, there is no perfect time to start. The perfect time is to start. You have to learn how to work with what you have and then improve as you go, because the only way you can improve anything is to even start creating it. Like, you cannot improve your homework or your research paper or whatever for school if you don't have a research paper to even start because you've been procrastinating to start your research paper. You can't improve your editing skills if you haven't even created a single video. You can't progress your overloads in the gym if you haven't even gone to the gym. Like, this is all the stuff for the preparation trap. And the crazy thing about all this is that you can just prepare and leave it for later, but there's a cost to leaving it for later. Um, you know, there's certain costs of staying stuck and preparing, because the problem with waiting isn't that it's not guaranteed, right? Um, Later an opportunity is missed. Like I said, somebody offers you a job, and then somebody changes their mind. You're cooked, right? You were preparing to for whatever reason for the job. Opportunities disappear. Later, the moment passes. Later, you lose interest. Later, you realize the thing you were afraid of wasn't even that important. And sometimes later just becomes regret. Uh, I knew if I did not start the social media thing that I would regret it. And I'd rather like fail so miserably than look back and say, "Oh my god, dude, I should have done that." A lot of the reasons why I do a lot of the stuff that I do and I overwhelm myself with things and spread myself out so thin is because I didn't want to have any regrets. I'm 25, and I don't have a partner, I don't have kids, I live by myself, and I have really good friends, but I have the ability to like strive for anything that I want, because I have really no responsibility to tie me down. And that puts me in a very unique place, I would think, because often online in comment sections, when people do these kinds of videos, I see it was like, well, you can work so hard and do all these things and yada, 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 because you have no kids and no partner. And I was like, well, you know what? At some point you did too. Um, and you just, you didn't strive for anything. And I think a lot of that is because we can stay stuck. Um, and I don't want to look back when I do have that life, because I do want that life. Like, I want kids, I want my own home. I've moved around quite a lot in my life, and I would really love that. I would really love to have my own home with my family and a dog. I've always wanted a dog. Like, I've never had a dog, and I would love a dog, and I would love to have my family. And as a man, I think any man should strive for that. I think it's a different topic for a different thing, but you know, I don't want to look back and think I had a chance. Like, why didn't I just start? That's a part that scares me, and that leads me to do a lot of things that I'm terrified of doing, because you know I rather fail than regret it. It says, you know, I'd rather find out that I'm not good enough, that I reject myself completely, um, because that's what scares me. Like, not finding out all, because you can fail at something and learn from it. You can make a terrible video and make a better one. You can write about a bad essay and then write another one. Like, I've probably written like tons of bad Substack posts. Um, you can start a business and figure out why it didn't work. You can walk into the gym weak and become strong. But if you never start, there's nothing to improve. Earlier, I mentioned the whole arena thing with Nabal Ravikant, and the whole point of the arena is like you just have to enter the arena. The arena is just doing the thing. Like, okay, you need to go to the gym. The arena for you is the gym. You need to record an episode. Okay, well, set up your studio. You need to write an essay. Are you going to handwrite it, or are you going to write it in a computer? Um, you know, you need to get on the job interviews. Well, the arena for you is going to be applying, and then the next arena for you is going to be, going to the job interviews for whichever interviews accept you. And I think that's where the real fear comes from, because being in the preparation trap gives you control, and you know, being in control feels safe. Like, there's a safety net. It's your bubble. The arena doesn't give you control, because when you are, recording videos live, like, whatever you say is whatever you say. Now, when you're editing, you can control what you say, but then it ruins the flow of it. When you're in a job interview, not that I haven't had one in years. I think the last one I had was in 2020, when I was a reservist, not active duty. And, you know, you only have so much control of what you can say, but not how your interviewer is really going to interview you, or like, you don't have no control over anything. You just control what you say and to make the best impression. Like, it's outside of your control. um when you're preparing, you can still feel capable. You can still imagine yourself as a person who writes the book, the person who makes the film, the person who starts the business, the person who gets in shape. Like, all these things in the preparation, like, you can just imagine. um the person that creates something meaningful. I think I've imagined myself creating something meaningful out of this channel quite a bit, but I'm like, dude, you're not even like making any videos. Like, why are you imagining yourself this? Um, and the reason why I think we did that is because you haven't tested that identity yet. And because you have not tested that identity yet, you know, that's when you really get to see, like, oh, I am actually none of those things. Because at that point, the world rejects you. And it can confirm the biases you have for yourself of why you're not starting. And that is the cost of the arena. Because I've posted a few shorts, and there's dudes that are dudes, gals, people online that have said, like, you could have just not posted that. One of the really funny ones was like, just because you have a camera and a mic doesn't mean you should post anything. Like, when I read that one, I'm like, damn, that is exactly why I didn't want to post. I have 75 subscribers. Most of them probably don't even watch. Um, and the ones that do are people that I know. and then a few like random profiles that just like give me some really encouraging stuff, which is really awesome because it reminds me like I'm focusing on the negative thing that that person said while stepping in the arena, but there's the other side of the arena that's cheering me on. Um, and you put your work out there, you hit publish, you hit record, and you step onto the field, you lift the weight, you send a message, and you start. And reality can tell you something that you don't want to hear. Uh, Maybe you're good, maybe you're terrible, maybe you're in between, and that's uncomfortable because the possibility that the world will challenge you and the story you're telling about who you are, um, you know, it'll suck. Like, damn, like this is confirming everything I thought about myself. However, step into the arena also does the opposite, where the arena cheers you on. There's another possibility. Maybe, just maybe, you're better than you thought. And you're still finding out which is true while you're still preparing. Um, or you will never find out unless you're still preparing. Oh, damn, my thoughts got stuck there. Um, and one of the things like Alex Hermosi is like, you don't need to feel ready. You know, I think we put way too much emphasis on being ready. Uh, there is no perfect time to start. Like, there's always going to be stuff going on. Uh, you're going to be tired. Work's going to suck. Uh, you won't feel very good. Um, but one day you can wake up and just do it. You know, with fake confidence. You know, maybe all the videos you've watched, you suddenly have the knowledge, and that gives you courage. And then we'll start. Um, but obviously that's not how that works, right? You don't just wake up and like start doing things. But you can just begin. There's this awesome book. I don't know if I have it back here, but it is the boys, the mule, the fox, and the horse. And you know, I said this when I got promoted to my next rank, and it was like, sometimes I feel like you have more. Well, the horse asks, or the boy asks something to the horse, and he tells him like, sometimes I think you believe in me more than I believe in myself, and then the horse tells the boy, I think it's like, yo, catch up, like you will catch up. The more you step into the arena, the more that belief is going to catch up. Um, a lot of the time, you just have to act. The confidence is going to come afterwards, and you know you don't become experienced and then start. You literally just like start, and it's the whole thing of like it's 10,000 iterations. Like each iteration of what you're doing is going to give you another line of mastery. Uh, and then you're just gonna keep going, and then from there, you're gonna screw up, you're gonna learn, you're gonna adjust, and then that's where progress happens. I've done so many videos where I've just recorded, and I've learned something different from each video. It's like, oh, if I set up the lightning in this angle, or if I put my camera here, or if I put my microphone right here, or if I use my headphones, I can actually get better audio and get the actual thing from the quality of the microphone I'm using. Because before I would do these without headphones, and because I was doing it without headphones, I was not able to get the full quality of the audio with the microphone I have because I was far away. Like if I go over here, it doesn't sound very good, but I know that when I'm using my headphones, that if I'm here at this range, like I'm getting the full quality, like I've adjusted. If I put my lighting right, like right over here at a 45-degree angle, how I learned, I'm getting this nice where I'm getting lit up, and then I have my other lighting over here, and I have my camera here. Now, um, the the next thing I really want to work on is like looking at the camera, and I'm bad at it, right? Because I have like a performance anxiety, even though I'm in my own room. But eventually you learn all that, and just know like you know you can be in the preparation trap, not because you don't want to do the thing you want to do. It's because you feel like the more you prepare, like the better you're going to be at it. But here's the thing: like you're not going to get better if you're not doing it. Um, you're waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time to start. Uh, you are afraid of the world rejecting you, but by you not even giving a chance to the world to reject you, you are rejecting yourself, and that is probably a lot worse because that'll come with regret of, oh, I could have done that. Um, it's not that you don't have confidence. You can build that. Of course, you're not going to have confidence. You don't know what you're doing. Like you're starting something brand new. That's why you research. That's why you have all these biases about yourself. Give yourself a chance. Like, do not reject yourself. You know, that is one thing that I've done a lot, and I rather the world reject me than me find out I had a regret and I could have done it. Um, because I'd rather me fail. That's what it is. And you know, eventually, if you just wait all the time, you're just gonna die. Like that's the thing. Like you don't have immortality. Like at the end, you're done. We're all gonna leave this planet at some point, and you want to live your life to the full extent of it, and you do not want to be in the preparation trap for anything, especially if you have no responsibilities besides just maintaining yourself. Like you have no partner, you have no kids. Like, dude, at that point, like just grind, like just be so obsessed with whatever goal you're trying to reach because you're never going to have that amount of freedom. Like I work, I go to school, I work out, I record these fucking videos, I write, I read books, I play video games. Like I'm so spread out, so thin. Sometimes I forget to eat sometimes, but dude, like I I do all this stuff because I have all that free time right now because nobody else requires my attention. Um and at some point that's not going to happen, and I'm enjoying that right now. That is my situation. Obviously, if you made it to the end of this video, yours is probably different. But if that is you, dude, I think Jordan. I heard this say from Jordan Peterson first. Like, if you are young, or Gary, if you're young, and it's just you, like, dude, just fucking grind. Like, just grind. Like, who cares what anybody thinks? Like, go do your thing. Um, I always end my Substack articles with like, do the thing. That's it. Do the thing. Do the thing. Here's me doing the thing, and it's gotten so much funner to do the thing, even though I'm like still terrified. But as you can see, like I've built some confidence, and this is probably like my 15th video. So go through the thing. You can do it. Don't reject yourself. Let the world reject you, and then learn from there. Go do something else after that. Peace.